Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the Arsenal edition. Arsenal 4, Wigan Athletic 0. Live from the Emirates. Like, share and subscribe, remember that, and comment. Arsenal are through to the next round of the FA Cup, our cup, we're the record holders. And it was a strong performance, especially in that first 30-35 minutes, and a strong lineup. A little bit stronger than I probably anticipated. With the injuries, I think we kind of weren't left with any options, but we got even more injuries. And I was just getting into my seat when I realised that Saka was on the pitch and Calafiori wasn't. So I was like, what the hell could have happened? And then I was reliably informed by Dean and Gabby that Calafiori went off injured. So while I was upset that one Haaland graduate couldn't play in midfield, I was upset. I was really happy another one could, which was Saka. I hope Calafiori isn't too serious. I like the fact that we're not taking any chances, because a lot of these players in years gone by would have felt something and they would have played on it. So while it's annoying, it's good that there's zero tolerance for any sort of niggle, to just get them off and let's make sure you're actually fit, rather than just playing on something that could be serious, you know. So that was a good thing. But yeah, the way this team was set up, so we'll go through the lineup. So it was Raya, not Raya, sorry, it was Kepa, White, Saliba back from illness, Mosquera, and MLS in left back, we spoke about. Then Norgard, potentially my man in the match, I don't know yet. Eza and Saka with Gabby Jesus, Madueke and Martinelli. Now, just a word on that front three. That front three for me can play in Premier League games. Let me just be clear on that, and I'll get to that in a bit anyway. But I like that front three for a few reasons. But yeah, Wigan, let me just be clear here, yeah. They played a 5 at the back, out of shape. They was definitely pressing in a 5-2-3, no problem. But I know it's a cup game, and the cup games you can't really compare to league games, but they had much more of a go than a lot of teams that I've seen come to the Emirates. A lot of good Premier League teams that I've seen come to, they've had much more of a go at it. And yeah, they got smoked, but honestly, there's so much. You can hear them singing the second again earlier song, which is fair enough. It is what it is. Until we win, we're going to have to deal with that. But it is what it is. Anyway, but yeah, they had to go. And unfortunately for them, like, Arsenal have really good players and a really good side, and we punished them for it. I'll go through the goals. First of all, Eza dropping deep. Eza in the first 30 minutes of this game probably had more touches than, and I'm going to check this because I feel like I might be close. Eza had more touches in those first 30 minutes. When we even say first half, than he did in these last 3 games combined, I want to say. I feel like I'm close. I really feel like I'm close, and I get the level of opposition, but I know he got a rocket from Arteta and said, I need you more on the ball. You've got all the quality in the world. Why are you just waiting for moments? Why aren't you taking the moments yourself? And his pass to Madueke was fantastic. The finish from Madueke was excellent. And then Norgard's pass into Eza is kind of the zones that I want us to play in more. Now I get they're really loving it. I really get the fact that level of position, and obviously, it's not our first 11 as well, and teams will pack the midfield way more than Wigan did today, but put the ball a little bit more at risk, just a tiny bit more. I'm not asking for consistently playing within the block, because that's suicide as far as I'm concerned. Teams have good players and they'll punish you, but put the ball at risk a little bit more. This was their day out. This was literally their cup final, I'm sorry. But yeah, put the ball a little bit more at risk, and he saw what with Eze's pass on his left foot into Martinelli, whose finish was fantastic on his left foot as well. And then I believe it was own goal, and again the build-up play was fantastic. Saka and Madueke combining well. I think Madueke started it with a good piece of play out on the wing, beat his man. And then an own goal where Gabby Jesus could have got his goal, but then he did get his goal. He actually did get his goal, and there's a great ball from Norgard and a fantastic chip from Gabby Jesus. And I can leave it there for the goals. But just on that, our front three scored today. And again, Wigan aside, look at the profiles of that front three. To me, that's pretty damn close to perfection as far as I would want from an Arsenal front three. You got ridiculous pace on the wings, threatening behind, players that can take on their men and beat their men. Now, final action from Madueke obviously needs to improve, but Martinelli's finishing is never in doubt for me. And he can take on these men as well. And then you've got the quality of Jesus, who can hold up the ball, who can play others, and who can combine with the midfield as well. I really, really like it, and I think I'd like to see it in the Premier League, potentially maybe even starting again on Wednesday, you know. But probably no Gyökeres will come back in, which I don't have an issue with. But the balance of that front three, I think, is really, really good. So I'm recording there, mate. So, but yeah, I think it's really, really it's a really good balance of in attack there. But yeah, on to Norgard. Norgard, look, for me, Dean asked me in the group, is that why doesn't Norgard play more? And I feel like it's very much to do with chemistry and player quality. Like, Norgard is great, but he's not enough of Zubimendi, but also not a little bit, but he's not enough of Rice as well. Do you know what I mean? And I want to see him get more minutes, purely for the fact that I feel like I want to take minutes away from the other players. But if the manager doesn't trust him, I don't know what else to say. He's got a lot of quality himself, and I feel like he's chomping at the bit. Maybe he gets more minutes on Wednesday, because I ideally would love to see us really try. It's gonna be that game's gonna be so difficult. But honestly, if we could end that game in the first hour, and just honestly get these players out there for Sunday. Now they're giving it back to the Wigan fans. I'm not mad at it. But yeah, honestly, like, Norgard for me probably deserves a bit more minutes. But I'm not mad at the fact that, to my mind, the best midfield partnership in the league is playing a lot of football matches. But again, on the flip side, I really want more minutes shared out. But yeah, MLS, it's very, very clear that his 1v1 defending in wide areas is not of the standard. And for me, he's never ever going to improve in terms of his speed, which isn't me saying he's not going to improve other areas. Of course he will. Of course he is. He's going to be a wonderful player, but in those areas, he doesn't have he's not blessed athletically. You know, the burst or the burst or the, what do you call it? The burst or the acceleration. He just doesn't have it. So yeah, get him in midfield. And I think Arteta obviously saw that today. He wanted him to play in midfield, and later on in the game, he barely played left back. He was just in midfield, just trying to get in the ball and dictate things. Marley Salmon made his home debut. Fantastic for him. Tommy Setford also made his home debut. You know, there was at some point, I think a couple of years ago, when we first signed Raya, you know, I thought it was like at some point I'll have to sub my goalkeepers because it might require different qualities, and we all knew that was tongue in cheek, and then it happened today. But I feel like it was more of a let's get this boy his debut kind of thing. But I mean, he came on for his debut as well. Saka went off at half time for Gyökeres. He had a good shot that hit the post, I think. But yeah, honestly, that's the sort of game that you really need after a game like Brentford. A nice sort of relaxed home cup tie where you can just experiment, get some goals, don't overtly, overdo it physically, kind of thing, and just get out of there. You're into the next round. But just back to Eza quickly. Eza for me he's gonna have to do more of that. And I know we spoke about early season that we're expecting Odegaard out of him, we're expecting Eza out of Odegaard, kind of thing. I think both players can take leaves out of each other's book, to be honest. But just on Eza, because he's the one that's played today, he's the one that's probably gonna. I'm not sure what's happening with Odegaard's fitness, but Eza in deep areas, you can see what he can do in deep areas. So why not lead into that? We don't need him to be constantly in the final third, but we know when he is in the final third, he's gonna make something happen. So him getting on Eza touching the ball more is never a bad thing for me. It genuinely isn't. It can't be. How can a player of his quality touching the ball more be a bad thing? So I think he needs to recognise that, and he needs to just accept that parts of his game, especially transition thing, the transition parts, probably aren't going to be as effective playing for Arsenal, because teams are going to sit off Arsenal. They're not going to try and press Arsenal too high. So he's going to have to find other gears and other elements in his game. And he's got the strength, he's got the physical strength of the hold-off players as well. He's got big legs, you know what I mean? He can carry the ball, and he's wonderful under pressure. His first touch is up there. It's up there with the best of them. So for sure he's got to do a bit more there, man. But yeah, I guess we'll catch you guys on the next one. Ramadan is coming up, so I always take a break from the Emirates during Ramadan, so there won't be any coaches' corners from the Emirates until Well, I think the next game I may or may not be going to is the Carling Cup final. So that'll be the next one. That'll be the next one you see me from a stadium or the Emirates. So yeah. But yeah, remember to like, share, subscribe, guys. I've been Coach. Catch you next one. Peace.